William Diaz here for Rebel News, and today, James Topp, the man who walked from British Columbia to Ottawa, finally meets with some members of Parliament, Conservatives, probably Liberal, and NDP as well, if they want to join, to discuss his stance and his views on vaccine mandates, mask mandates, and other authoritarian discriminatory policies related to COVID-19 that Justin Trudeau's government implemented in the past 2 years. So let's go see how it goes.
Have access to their government, and I think in a way, even though it took a bit of work and a bit of time, but that we were able to get some communication going on between me as a representative of the Canadian public, or like on the ground, and somebody who's been affected by federal government mandates. I was able to have this conversation directly with members of Parliament in the House of Commons, so I'm very happy that they had the courage to come and speak.
How do you think that message that you brought forward today was received?
I think it went fairly well. I mean, it's not like we had a poll or anything right after the meeting or anything, but based on the fact that most of the MPs decided to stay for the duration of the meeting, I'm assuming it was well received. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to do a detailed interview with them.
This is another option that's available to us. We are all peaceful organizations. We're all law-abiding organizations. And we believe that this is the next best move to be able to engage with the duly elected governments and do this democratically, but put our support behind the right people that are actually going to respect the voters and the taxpayers and listen. And
We're the right people.
The right people, Canadians that lost their jobs, Canadians that were coerced, Canadians that were disrespected and were told that their bodily autonomy no longer applies. And you've just heard all the scientific evidence. This is all stuff that we have known for a year and a half because we've been listening. We have been doing the research and seeking out the doctors, the PhDs, the scientists, and having these conversations. And I'm sorry, but the mainstream media have not been willing to share this information with the public. And so we have had to do all this research, and we have had to take action to have our voices heard because nobody would listen. And so we've been vilified. I accept that. I had my accounts frozen. My son almost did not get his heart medication when my accounts were frozen. They use FINTRAC to attack it, and FINTRAC is for domestic terrorism and international terrorism. And I never had a warrant for my arrest. I was never charged. I've never been convicted. They went straight to basically prosecution, and they put my son's life in jeopardy. And you've heard there's no scientific justification for what was done to any of us. So the people responded with a convoy and a march across country. That was the People's Emergency Act. And we know we were supported by the people because 2 times we raised $10 million across this country. People were coming here by the thousands, giving us money, giving us food, giving us fuel, giving us their love and their support. And nobody listened. And unfortunately, the Conservative Party, the official opposition, was not in a position to capitalize on that. And we have this unholy alliance between the NDP and the Liberals. And we as a people are being shut out of the process. There's only 2 people in this country that have full power. It's Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau over 38 million people's lives.
A lot of Canadians have lost their jobs because they refuse to get vaccinated. A lot of Canadians have been censored online on Twitter and on social medias because they spoke out against the vaccine. James, do you have any message of hope to those Canadians and a message of why should they still continue to fight if they're losing their job and everything?
My message is it's difficult. I've lived through it. I don't know what to say. I felt there was an injustice, and I stood up and I said something about it.
So there you have it, folks. Pierre Poilievre, Candice Bergen were nowhere to be seen during his presentation, and 10 Conservative MPs left the presentation. I was told that it was because they had to go to question period in Parliament because it was happening at the same time. This was William Diaz for Rebel News. Recently, a Liberal government run by Justin Trudeau decided to introduce Bill C-11, which now passed 3rd reading in the House of Commons. And it would basically be a censorship bill that will allow the government to decide which companies, which media outlets have the right to exist online. If you want to help us fight that, please go to stopthecensorship.ca and sign a petition there. Thank you.